Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 78 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles. I'm here with Joey, Nick, and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Going good, going great.
What's up, fellas? Hello, everybody. Jackson, catchphrase. All right, I'm gonna keep it up.
Make some hot takes.
Bringing some hot takes. Okay. All
Yeah.
right. We'll see.
That's a good one.
That's not a bad catchphrase because you were decent at that last year.
That's
yeah,
always
We're good at
happens.
this.
Hot, steamy, trash, garbage takes.
Says the one who predicted the Knicks at 8 last year. I don't want to hear it, blood. That's enough.
That's hard to
Fair.
argue right
Fair.
there. Well, last episode we did our Western Conference standings predictions for the 2024-25 season. That was pretty controversial. We had some nice, healthy debates in here, some hot takes, some agreeable things in here. This episode we're shifting over to the Eastern Conference for our final off-season episode, because by the time we start next episode, training camp, media day, all that's going to get started. We're almost there, guys. Just a couple more weeks to go until the season. So let's have a good one. Eastern Conference standings. Me personally, I am way more confident in the Eastern Conference than I was the West. This was way easier for me to do, but there were still a couple teams that I still had some trouble with. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Miles already knows I got some steamers for this one, so I'm just excited to kind of.
We all expect the steamers, don't worry. We all know it's coming.
You did.
I'm not
It was
excited.
definitely, it was harder for me to make the tiers for this. Like in the
Mm.
West, it was like the top four and then the bottom three, sort of is how I described it last time. It's still a mess in the middle, but I think the thing that really sticks out, there's a lot of teams tanking,
There are a lot of
tanking, and
tanking
there's a lot of
this year.
tanking going on in the East.
Yeah, there's definitely potential for that up. Absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Starting with the 15th seed, Jackson, you go first. Who do you have as the worst team in the Eastern Conference?
The Brooklyn Nets, the GFF.
The GFF.
Okay. Is that, do we all agree?
I actually no, I had the Wizards.
Okay. All right. I was thinking about doing that as well. Nick, why do you have the Wizards below the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, other than the fact that it's never the team that it's supposed to have the lowest wins in either conference, like we talked about with Portland in the West. Portland's supposed to have the least amount of wins. No one had the 15th seed in our last episode. So I put the Wizards here for that reason, and just because I don't trust Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. One of them, if not both, should be traded. Kyle Kuzma's been in trade talks since the middle of last season, since he got to Washington. The only thing I really like about Washington is the fact that they made the switch with Portland, ironically, for their pick, I think. No. Whoever they got Bub Carrington from.
Yeah, Portland.
Okay.
In the Denny trade.
In the Denny, trade. That's the only thing I really like about Washington. They traded Denny as well, obviously. So, yeah,
that was a bad trade, in my opinion, too.
Brooklyn, you still got Cam Thomas, who's liable to score 40 a night. He's going to have the opportunity too. He's still got guy in the corner, Cam Johnson. So.
Yeah, I mean, the Nets and the Wizards, I mean, they're my two teams at the bottom. I think that universally they will probably be the two worst teams when it comes to predictions, besides, of course, Jackson Goglin, because why would he? But, I mean, I talked about it in the preview thing with the Nets on how I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe the Nets could be solid because, like you said, Nick, it's never the team that we think, is actually going to be the worst team. But to me, when I just look at the Brooklyn Nets, I don't see it with this team more so than other teams in the past that were actually the worst.
So bad.
Just because they have all the incentive in the world to be the worst team in the league.
They got their picks back.
They got their picks back. They can be, they can compete in the first half of the season while they're trying to raise the stock of some of their veterans that they have there, like Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, Bojan Bogdanovic. But other than that, like it's going to be the Cam Thomas show, and Nick Claxton will be solid defensively, and then which of those other young guys can make their case to stay on the Nets roster for more than just this year. Because that's the thing, when you're in the first year of a rebuild, because that's what the Nets are going to be in, and this could be the only year of it. I mean, this is a team that could turn it around pretty quickly. The first year is usually like, who is going to solidify themselves to be on this team for years down the road when we're good again? I think that the Nets, they have young guys that they want to figure out.
Yeah, which teammates are gonna buy as many gifts as they can for Cooper Flag when he gets there? I think this team might be the worst team in the league this year. When I do my standings, I usually go from the first seed down and just fill in that way. I put 15 GFF. I just wrote GFF. I didn't write Brooklyn Nets, nothing. Just it's what they are. It's what they
Joey,
will
tell the
be.
people.
But this is good. You got your picks back. Be the worst team in the world. This is the time to do it. Be historically bad. I was talking to Miles in the pre-pod lobby saying I will never predict someone to have 15 wins on the whole year ever. But I will predict that the GFF won't hit 20 wins this year.
Yeah, there's just not a whole lot from this team, which is fine. It's not really. I mean, this is a team. I mean, there's a reason that they're at the bottom of the standings. They want to be at the bottom, get a high draft pick, and use their cap space in the summer. So let's go to team or seed number 14. Jackson, who do you have at number 14?
Detroit basketball will be the 14th seed.
Yeah, I hate it.
I don't think they did too much this offseason to warrant them jumping up a whole lot. I mean, you got Tobias Harris, who's a good veteran. I mean, you got Malik Beasley, Ron Holland, but I mean, outside of that, it's really not that like it's not a crazy amount, honestly. I don't think they're gonna be much better than they were last year. I could see like maybe 5 to 6 more wins.
20-win team, you think, this season? Because that's how bad they were last year. A 5-win improvement gets you 20 wins. Or
I could see 20 to 22.
6.
Yeah, 6 wins would.
20 to 22. I don't think it's going to be that crazy.
The Pistons are going to be bad. I'm with you on that. I only have them one spot higher at 13. But Bickerstaff's a good development coach, so they'll be trash this year. Next year, you might see a big improvement, though.
Yep, just to have those veterans in there to improve the three-point shooting. And that coach, I still can't remember his name. I know I looked it up, but the shooting coach from the New Orleans Pelicans, who's improved a lot of players' three-point shots. Definitely potential for some improvement for the Detroit Pistons on that offensive side of the ball. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I've got the Wizards at 14. I got Wizards and Nets at the bottom.
I got Wizards at 14 as well.
I don't hate it.
They stink.
Yeah, I mean it's the Washington. It's the Washington Wizards. Nick, so since you have the Wizards at 15, who do you have at 14?
I only had Brooklyn one spot higher, and then Detroit one spot higher at 13. So
okay,
yeah, that's fair.
I think we're all pretty agreeable on the bottom 3 here.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's good.
Yeah. So wait, so Jackson, you have the Wizards at 13.
Yeah, I'm gonna be realistic here, guys. Come on.
Okay.
I was ready for you.
Jordan.
I was ready for your steaming hot take of saying, "Hey, man, the Wizards might be playing for a play-in spot this year."
Hey, Joey. You were saying the same things at the beginning of last year.
Shush.
We've
grown smarter than this now.
Yeah, 78 episodes in. So, all right. So we are done with the tier of garbage bottom tier teams. I'd be pretty surprised if this wasn't the bottom 3 this season. So now let's go to number 12. Jackson, hit us with the 12th best team.
I got the Toronto Raptors.
I do too.
Wow. You guys think Toronto's going to be that far down?
I don't think so.
I think they're another team that's going to try and lose more than they're going to they have more incentive than the teams I have ahead of them to be bad.
Well, listen, if it was up to Drake and their number 1 fan who wears the, head turban and sits at all their games and stuff, I think you'd be right. I think you'd be right because the reason the fans would probably want that is because they want a high draft pick and they don't really see a playoff future. But in Toronto, they have some good players, dude. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly are going in their second year together. Or not Emmanuel Quickly.
Yeah.
Is he still there?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Emmanuel
sorry.
Quickly's in Toronto.
My bad.
They're good. No, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Like, they got a solid, good couple guys. I don't have them that far. Down only one spot higher, but
Why does
I still
first
think they
round
missed
like
the
Drew-
play-in. But this is a solid team, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
But I
It's a
would want to
solid
lose
team.
as well to try to get a high draft pick.
I think they're gonna be. You can make a case for 11 or 12. I don't think they're gonna be a play-in team. I think they'll be close. I think they'll
Mhm.
definitely be close. You still have Scotty. You still have RJ Barrett. You still have Quickly. That's a good core three. But I mean, they still don't have the best depth pieces. They don't have them like. They don't have that guy who's gonna go out
Grady
there and
Dick year
give
2.
you a
Just wait. Just wait for Grady Dick year 2.
This is the thing that I don't
Not
really
great.
understand with the Toronto Raptors is this shooting guard position. They have a lot of shooting guards that are pretty similar, if we're being honest. When we're talking Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, even I believe Jacoby Walter coming in.
You guys know I'm high on
season.
Jacoby Walter. You guys know I love him.
But
Yeah,
they're
but he's not
all
gonna
like
bring this.
yeah, they're all like similar.
Should have been a lottery
players.
pick. He slipped. Should have been a lottery pick.
I don't think that doesn't make much of
Just
a
wait.
difference for the Toronto Raptors. This is a team I could see them having 3 20-point per game scores this year. I could see that happening with Scotty, RJ Barrett, and Quickly.
That'd be good.
But I just don't think that when you look at the rest of the East that it really adds up to that much. And they shouldn't want to win that many games. That's why I think they could be okay the first half of the season and then just tank it out the second half, kind of like they did this year or this past season. And now they actually have their own draft pick. They don't have to convey it to the San Antonio Spurs like they did last year. So they don't have to worry about that whatsoever going into this season. So this is the year to tank in the second half of the year. So that's why
I know who Miles has in the play-in at 10. It just revealed it.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
They have a brand new head coach.
All right, blood.
I don't think so. You're thinking of the wrong team.
All right.
We gotta go to 11 first, dude. You're going too fast. You gotta like.
I know. I'm just.
So, Joe, who do you have at 12?
I have the Chicago Bulls.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's who I got. Them at
They're-
I
11.
have them.
I
got
have
them
the
at 11.
Raptors at 11. So, like, yeah, flip-flop.
Yeah,
really. We're all pretty
like I
much
said,
in agreement there.
They're interchangeable. I think those two are interchangeable.
Yeah, both teams probably want to be bad. Both teams will be bad. Not really competitive with the play-in, but not really. Like, it's only because other teams are going to be pretty bad at the bottom of the play-in.
Even though, okay, Chicago Bulls GM Carney Chovas today that said that they want to win as many games as possible. What are you thinking, buddy? Dude, I do not understand. That is the only reason I have the Bulls over the Raptors because the Bulls are coming in like, yeah, we want to still stay competitive, and I just don't like it. I mean, I think that they definitely could the first half of the season because they still have Levine and Vucevic who they need to rise up their trade value so they can get off the team and let other guys develop. But I don't like it if they want to compete. I think this team should be lower in the standings. Like, I would not be surprised, if the Bulls were definitely further down on this list. But, right now, seeing how they're talking at the beginning of the season, the Bulls are going to try to stay competitive at least a little bit, and that's going to put them right at 11, I think.
He probably said that only to get the fans riled up and to buy season tickets and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah,
they're
that's a
not
good
going to
point.
be competitive.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's unfortunate because they do have good young pieces, but like they really should. They're
really
not
not
there yet. You still need to move on from Zach LaVine and Vucevic, I think, to finally go into like a better rebuild mode.
that's the thing.
I mean,
it's not
look
a
at-
bad-looking roster right now.
It's a very well-rounded starting lineup, I think.
Except, I mean,
think this team-
defensively, Levine and Kobe White and I don't like it defensively at all.
Yeah, but you could plug and play different people in the starting lineup. I think that's why it's nice to have Lonzo Ball, Desumu on the bench just to plug in for guard
Lonzo
defense
playing?
ability.
Lonzo definitely could be back. I know Bulls fans want Ayo Dosunmu to be able to play more. They're kind of upset with the fact that they have like 6 guards who are all like okay to like above average. Because they just have so many, guards, and they're not going to be able to play all of them. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a move for maybe one of those, other guys, like a Javon Carter or something small like that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Nick, who's your 12th team?
All right. Apparently, I have Charlotte lower than the rest of the group. But let me plead my case here because
You love Charlotte.
I thought you were going to
Okay.
love the Hornets.
I
going into
I
this
thought
Again.
this is a shock.
anyways,
I thought you
there's
were
a
going to
clear
be
bottom.
Glazer.
There's a clear bottom 3, like we just talked about, and between these teams ahead of Charlotte, you just put up a Chicago Bulls roster that I was impressed by and was arguably as good as Miami's roster. I mean, honestly, like Miami is a question, Chicago is a question if they're trying to win games, and I think Atlanta's better than them. So the only team I had left was Chicago, and I'm sorry, not Chicago, Toronto, and I just think Toronto is going to be better than Charlotte because Charlotte is kind of going into their second year one. It's Miller's second year, which is his prove it year, and LaMelo is only in his first year with Brandon Miller. So, yeah, Mark Williams was out a lot last year, so I think it's like a second year one, and I just think they're going to take some getting used to and working out their lineup. Especially, I mean, Grant Williams, I don't know what he's still doing there, if he's going to have a role or like he doesn't fit. So
I like him on that team as a backup 4 and kind of veteran, can show some toughness for the young guys. The Hornets team to me is very well rounded in a lot of different areas with their, new head coach. It just all comes down to health. I'm pretty, I like the Hornets going into the season. I don't have them too terribly high, I don't think, but it all just
this
comes
is who I
down to
thought you
health
had
for
at
them.
10, and that's why I'm like, oh, I have the Hornets lower than everybody, and Miles has them in the play-in.
Yes,
I do as well.
yeah.
I do
Well,
as
we all
well.
do. We can get into that into the top 10 right now. So do any of you guys have the Hornets at 10?
I do.
No, sorry. You guys had me with Chicago at 11, though, right?
Yeah, I
Chicago.
Chicago at 11.
Yeah, Chicago at 11.
All right.
And then Nick, who'd you have at 11?
Chicago.
You had Chicago at 11 as well. Okay, so we all agreed, well, besides the Hornets there, on the bottom 5, it looks like, in the Eastern Conference. So now 10th seed. Joey, you have the Hornets at 10.
I have Charlotte at 10. Yeah.
Okay.
If they're all healthy, if LaMelo or Mark Williams, like it went down last year, like they did, like you're going to have a similar result because even though Bridges and Miller are a fun duo, they can't do it by themselves. They need LaMelo, who's the clear leader, and you need a good defensive guy in the middle like Mark Williams. So I think if they're healthy, and I'm praying they are, because this is going to be a super fun team to watch. I really just want, as a fan of basketball in the NBA, I want to watch them at their full potential. And I think they at least hit it this year, because just getting a taste of the play-in with this young core of a team that they have, huge
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah, the Hornets. They'll definitely be an interesting team going into the season. I have them a spot higher than 10. I have them as the 9th seed
You guys are crazy.
going into the season.
I do as well.
You guys are nuts. That's literally where, like, I got the Heat.
I
have the Heat.
I have the Heat. Wait, Nick,
You guys think the Hornets are going to be as good as the Heat?
Oh, let's slow
I
down
think
a
they're better than
little
that.
bit. Let's slow down a little bit here.
That's all I'm hearing.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not
That's what
putting
I'm
words
saying.
in your mouth. I'm repeating them back to you.
That's what I'm saying.
10th seed in the Eastern Conference before we go crazy. 10th seed is where I have the Atlanta Hawks.
Nope.
I got Toronto. I just flipped Toronto and Charlotte with a lot
You
of
have
people.
Atlanta there?
Yes.
Wow.
Sorry,
Am I
Pretty
really high on Atlanta?
I'm pretty
I am.
confident in that as well, honestly, with Atlanta being at number 10. I just think that their roster doesn't really add up to the rest of the East and how talented everyone else is. Besides Charlotte, I think Atlanta is definitely, Atlanta definitely most likely will probably be better than Charlotte. But I just like the Hornets roster a little bit more and how more well-rounded it is.
That's fair, but do you remember Trae Young before DeJounte Murray? Dude was taking down the New York Knicks.
Look,
Who took down Joel Embiid?
He did, and both of those were in just one season. If we're being real, if you take that away, he's been a play-in player. So that's what I see again with this team.
I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be a top 6. I don't think they are. But I'm going to throw in a curveball. I have the Miami Heat at number 10.
Wow.
I just can't put them that low.
Pull up the roster really quick. Outside of Jimmy and Bam, who do they have? And Terry, who do they have? Because I don't know if Hero's injury prone a lot.
They have Bam,
Triple J, Jaime Jaquez,
the most versatile defender in basketball.
Listen, dude, if Jimmy goes down though, and if Tyler Hero didn't play a lot of the regular season last year either, and they just I don't know. Jimmy's age is going to catch up to him eventually, and I think this team, if Jimmy goes down, is right on par with the Hornets to me. I think a healthy Hornets team, which I think they're going to be healthy. So I think
I honestly really love the Heat starting lineup. I mean, they got a really solid 5.
I also love the rookie Khalil Ware.
Yeah, and then they got Ware and Jaquez off the bench.
Duncan Robinson off the bench.
Where did they finish last year? They finished what, 8? They finished as the 8th seed.
Yeah, probably tied for 7 around there.
So I mean, I think they could be interchangeable with Charlotte. I just think one Jimmy injury and they drop a lot because I don't know if. I mean, Scary Terry didn't look the best when he first got there. I mean, he played a lot better as time went on.
It's hard to get traded in the middle of the season. That's why, I think they're going to be around similar because, I think Terry's going to be a little bit better this year, just because,
and
just being there, having a full training camp, and being around the guys, just comfortability. Yeah. It's the same way I'm going to talk about Dame Lillard when we talk about the Bucks later. It's going to be the same thing. It's hard going to a new place after you've been at a place for a bunch of years. So. Especially
mid-season when, because of injuries, the lineup kept changing. We really didn't know who was going to be on the court. This season, going in at least, there's no lingering injuries right now for the Miami Heat. So looking into that and seeing them fully healthy going into the season and how Jimmy Butler could have a chip on his shoulder, he actually has a legit reason to not just, play 50% the whole season. He is going to want one final payday. He does have a player option at the end of the season, but I know for sure he would want to stay in Miami. I think that's a preferred thing. He loves that organization. Mm-hmm. He's honestly a Heat franchise legend when we look at the end of, his career. I know they would want to make it work most likely, but Jimmy Butler has to prove it. I think for the first time in a few seasons, he has a reason to prove it in the regular season. So I think that plus Bam Adebayo, he is such a good basketball player. When I was going back watching some of his highlights, and he really is the most versatile defender in the league with his ability. He's one of the only players that you can play any sort of defense with him, especially in the pick and roll, whether it's a drop or you have him switch on a perimeter defender, plus the things he can do offensively. You pair Jimmy, Bam, and Hero and Rozier are kind of your wild cards there in that backcourt. But just Butler and Bam, I think that the experience and them playing together for a while, it can give them the edge over some of these other teams. But I can't fault you, Jackson, for having them pretty low, because if they do kind of just cruise through the regular season, like Joey and we were talking about in the pre-pod lobby, you can't do that anymore in this loaded Eastern Conference.
I only have the Heat one spot higher than you. I have Charlotte. I think when we look at last year and the Eastern Conference standings, the 7 and 8 seed were the Sixers and Miami Heat, and they had 47 and 46 wins. That's 4+ games higher than 500. And then the bottom two, the 9 and 10, were 39 and 43 and 36 and 46.
Yeah, they were rough.
They were terrible. Yeah. They were well below 500. I think it's going to be similar, but at least with the 9 seed closer. I think Charlotte's going to have a below 500 year, but they'll still sneak into the play-in. I think the Heat are going to be around 500, but closer to who I have in the other playing spots.
Yeah.
I think
like
they're
I said,
still a competitive team because, like, I can't put a young squad like Charlotte over a coach like Eric Spoelstra who knows how to get his team ready for big moments. He's shown it in the past.
Fair. I could definitely. I think I could see the Heat finishing anywhere from 8 to 10. I don't know. It's like we talked about last episode. It's a gut feeling, and like right now, I don't know.
That's fair.
Just my gut's telling me that Charlotte's going to be ahead of them, and then another team.
We're gonna get another comment about your gut. I swear.
I was gonna say
I'm ready for it.
When's-
Bring it on.
Oh man! All right. Well, Nick, who's your 9th seed?
It was Atlanta. Yeah, I think the
Atlanta,
Hawks are going to be one of those teams Joey was just talking about that are at or just below 500. That's how it is for me with them in Toronto. I think you guys are Jackson's dragging the Heat through the mud. They're going to be a little bit better than the 10 seed, I would imagine. I think they're going to be a good number of games above 500.
If they were the 9 or 10th seed this year, that would be a huge disappointment to me. They should be way better than that. And, it just
There's
depends
too many
on
teams in the East that are trying to be bad for that to happen.
Yeah, that's definitely
And the Heat shouldn't be one of them.
Yeah. That's why I said I could see them anywhere between 8 through 10. I think once it gets below that, it's like.
But yeah, it's not a horrible take though, because like you said, they're a Jimmy injury away and they haven't been healthy, and they're not a strong team. Like I compared them to Chicago, which that ain't good. So
this is another one of those teams that's pretty top heavy when you look at Jimmy, Bam, and then Rozier and Hero. I mean, you look at their numbers; they're very good basketball players, but they're still kind of inconsistent a little bit. But you could look at their one Jimmy injury away, or he's getting at his older age of his career. They're also a Tyler Hero jump or Jaime Jaquez jump from being having some depth on that team as well, and the additions that they added too. Like I like Alec Burks for this team as well. He could probably be the backup one, add some size. They definitely have some versatility. They are going to be relying on off their bench, their bigs. It's going to be one super old guy and a rookie. They're going to rely on Kevin Love and Kel'el Ware to provide big backup minutes. So we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to see what Kel'el Ware can do because Heat rookies they always have a way. They have one of the best, player development, systems in the league. So that'll be fun to see how they all play. I have the Heat even a little bit higher though. We'll go to the 8th seed. 8th seed. This might ruffle some feathers. I'm not sure how the reaction will be for this, but the 8th seed is where I have the Indiana Pacers.
Me too.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, Miles, let's go.
And look,
Okay.
Indiana Pacers, something that I think we could all say about, the top 8 teams in the East. The Pacers, like for Joey and I, they are a very good basketball team, but the Eastern Conference features a lot of good basketball teams. So it's just difficult. It's hard to rank these teams. And for me going into the season, I think the Pacers are still going to be pretty good. This is going to be another season where the Pacers, they could have 45, 46 wins, kind of like they did last year. And it's the 8th seed. That's kind of how competitive it is.
That's kind of where I have them, like around that 43 to 45 wins, I think. And they'll get the 8th seed. I think they're still a good team. I just want to see it consistently. They're still a very young team, but like in the beginning of the year, Halliburton, top 5 MVP candidate of the year. He was putting up insane numbers. Second half, then he got injured and everything happened, and there was a lot of injuries everywhere. But he wasn't there. Siakam went off in the playoffs. If both of those guys click at the same time, they could definitely be higher on this list. But I personally it's too much inconsistency. I think I need to see it a little. I think I just need to see it click before I can actually just like say, yeah, okay, here they are better than I thought.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I have them one spot higher as the 7th seed, but I have the Atlanta Hawks at my 8th seed.
I think the Hawks the highest. Wow.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, Trae Young, one of my favorite players in the league. I think he's going to be a top-end play-in guy. I don't know. I like this Atlanta Hawks roster, actually. I think Jalen Johnson, like I said before, is probably my favorite for most improved. I think he's going to make a jump to like 21 to 22 points per game. I think Bogdanovich is going to be great for them this year. I think Reece Shea is going to put up 11 to 12 points and play really good defense for them. And then looking at their bench, it's a pretty decent bench. I mean, they don't have really any scorer besides like DeAndre Hunter can get you some points, and Kobe Buffkin's another guy who can get you some buckets. But I don't know. I like this roster. I think it's an underrated roster.
It's a good roster. That's why I like them. That's a really underrated like depth, I think. I'll talk about them later because I have them higher.
Okay. All right, Nick, who do you have as your 8th seed?
I had Miami here.
Okay, Miami at the 8th seed.
That's not terrible.
Yeah, we've got them all like in the same range. I've got them 7. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're like 8, 9, and 10. I could see it being interchanged. I mean, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Miami. But I don't know. I just think
they're a playing team. We're all in agreement. They're a playing team.
Yeah, they're all yeah. They're a playing team for sure.
And for me, they're a playing team because of what they've shown in the regular season the last 2 years. But this is a roster it's the Miami Heat. I honestly would not be surprised if they jumped up in the standings and fought for home court advantage in the playoffs. Well, I don't know if this roster stacks up to the rest of the East, but it's the Miami Heat. It's Eric Spoelstra. Like they're a team that's they're always a threat because it's the Miami Heat culture. Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, Bam. I mean, we talked about their roster, but yeah, I mean, we all agreed they are a playing team, which is kind of crazy to say with this loaded Eastern Conference. So I have him 7. Jackson's got the Pacers 7. Joey, who do you have as your 7th seed? Is that where you have the Atlanta Hawks?
Nope.
Ooh, even higher. Wow.
I have, and this one is gonna ruffle some feathers, I bet. I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh.
Yo.
Wow.
Wait, we're at 7? Are we at 7?
And I'm surprised.
They will probably have one of the best duos in the entire league this year. I think Dame is going to be much better this year, and I think Giannis could have an MVP type season. But the rest of the roster is just not good to me.
7 seed. It's not even possible.
No, the rest of this team outside of like Bobby Portis, I wouldn't want on any team. Like I don't like the rest of this team at all. Outside of Dame Lillard and Giannis, I don't like this team at all.
I like this team.
Like I literally think Giannis and Dame are going to be historical, and for that reason, I would not be surprised if they're in the top 6, top 5, where you guys probably have them.
You already said 7.
But my prediction is they're going to be historic, but the rest of the team is going to be just awful.
You think Chris Middleton's going to fall off that bad?
Yeah.
You know, I can't disagree with the guy. I mean, it's not really a good roster. He doesn't have to make that good of an argument.
Yeah, like Pat Connaughton, Gary Trent. You guys
what about the 2008 world champion Boston Celtic NBA Finals head coach?
All right, stop it. Doc is an idiot.
The Joel Embiid best friend of the year award.
Doc Rivers had one NBA championship because Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen and Rajon Rondo were like the best 4 in the entire league.
They dethroned Kobe.
All right, I'm waiting to talk about the Bucks because I have them a lot higher.
Joey was actually surprised that he had the Hawks the highest.
Yeah, what?
After having them like 6th.
Am I the only one who's like thinking that like it's such a huge addition by subtraction? By getting DeJounte Murray and Trae Young away from each other, I think it both unlocks them. Like for both of them, I think DeJounte is going to have a good year in New Orleans, and I think Trae Young's going to go back to like almost an MVP type Trae kind of guy who's like he's not going to be in the top 5 of probably MVP voting, but He's probably going to be top 10. I think he just like I guess I'm very high on the Hawks.
I'm not gonna hate. I'm not gonna hate.
Fine, that's fine.
Hey, hot takes. Hey,
I
Joey's been giving the hot takes
I've
all
been giving the hot
offseason.
takes. I had a hot take for Brooklyn in the GFF. I think my hot take for them is Cam Thomas is going to lead the league in scoring, and the Brooklyn Nets are going to finish with the worst record in the NBA.
That's not a hot take. He's gonna average 40 points a game, but they're gonna win 6.
All right, Nick, what's your 7th seed?
Orlando Magic.
I am not mad whatsoever. I've got him 1 spot higher.
Yeah, I got Orlando here.
I do too.
I got
boy.
the Magic.
If you're gonna argue
boy.
if you're gonna give me the argument that KCP is gonna add more than 5 wins to their roster, I'm not buying it. If you're gonna give me the argument that him and Franz's poor shooting year is gonna fade away, that's not gonna move the needle, we'll say. And I don't know. They have a lot of good players. Not everyone can play at the same time, so they still have some figuring out to do there, especially at the guard spot. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I think Orlando's gonna be near this play-in territory between like 6 and 8. I don't see them really fighting for home court advantage.
Yeah, I mean,
Prelude to Jackson.
The Magic, like with these top 6 teams, I'll even say I don't have many bad things to say about really any of them. Like Orlando, they definitely improved. I mean, they have a legit 3-and-D type player now. They're going to have internal development from Suggs, Folllow, Franz Wagner. Those guys should all have very good seasons. I just think in the loaded East, they're 6th. I think that's just where they rank as of right now. If we go into the season and we actually see those players like improve that much, this team could definitely jump up a few spots. But this is still a very young basketball team. It is 1 year of them jumping up. There is, always the possibility of teams maybe figuring them out a little bit. I think that's maybe less of a case with this team because I don't know how you figure out all the length defensively because they have so many great defenders and they're all so big. The offense still just worries me a little bit with the lack of the 3-point shooting. So that's why I got them 6. Not to say, I mean, I love the Orlando Magic, man. Keep building, man.
I'm a big Magic fan too. You know that. I also have them at 6. I think they might make things interesting in the playoffs because of how good defensively I think they'll be. So with KCP, it might influence their playoff chances, but in the regular season, it's not going to help that much, Nick. I'm with you on that.
Oh boy. Okay.
Who do you have at 7, Goglin?
Or
At 7, I got Indy. Oh, at
Yeah,
6, I got.
So I had Indy at 7. I think they're going to be a little bit better than you guys
Or
are
6.
thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Or you mean 6? Yeah. Okay.
No.
I thought you had the Magic.
Yeah. Sorry. 6. Yeah, sorry. 6.
Okay. So Pacers 6.
Guys.
I'm getting really confused.
I'm getting thrown off right now.
Train is leaving the station. Took a 2-2 because I have the Philadelphia 76ers as the 6th seed.
Oh.
I saw that one coming.
Listen, I need to see Joel Embiid play games. Okay, I like the addition of Paul George. I think their top 2 can lead them to some wins, but I don't think that Paul George is going to lead them to a crazy amount of wins after, like if Joel Embiid goes down like they did last year. I like the addition of Martin and Oubre is going to play good, but look at this bench unit. Look at the like what is that?
What do you mean?
Kenyon Martin
That's
Jr.?
good.
Getting Drummond is huge. Drummond is
what
a
are you
backup.
talking? What are you talking about?
Listen,
They're
you got Drummond. They don't have like a power forward or a small forward to back up. Gershon Yabusele, okay, he played well in the Olympics.
Yabusele is a G. Don't talk bad about him. I will climb through this camera and fight you right now.
How many games did he play in the NBA last year?
Did you see him in the Olympics?
How many games did Reed Shepherd
NBA.
play in the league last year? Like, what are we doing?
Reed Shepherd's like the GOAT, so calm yourself. Dude, it's just another gut feeling. I made this looking at like with the gut feeling. I don't know. I mean, this is the hot take train is barely leaving the station. It's about to get
That's
wild.
that much of a
here.
hot take, but I get it.
I've
Dude,
got
I mean,
I've got the Sixers at 5. I've got them one spot higher. This is the lowest I would have them.
I don't have
All
it,
right.
man.
Now, when it comes to if I was doing this as a power ranking for how I think they would be in the playoffs, this team is number 2, number 3 to me probably. But in the regular season, I think they're going to lose some games in the first little bit trying to figure things out because this is a very different looking roster. And they're going to play very well second half of the season leading into the playoffs. I've talked about it a lot. I think that they're more suited to deal with injury this year, mainly because of the addition of Drummond, and they have a bunch of experienced guys who have all been starters before. Like if you look at this roster, Kyle Lowry, Reggie Jackson, Eric Gordon, Drummond, they have all been legit starters and legitimate players before. So if guys get injured, guys can just step right in and still provide, very decently. But I just don't think it's going to be that crazy. I don't think they'll have a crazy regular season. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey should be amazing again. I can't wait to see what the big three does. But I think that 5th seed, this team is so talented. They could definitely finish at the top of the standings as well. But my gut feeling is telling me it's going to take them a little bit to get going, and that's going to put them at 5.
All right.
I'm just looking also. I'm talking about Joel Embiid being injury prone. Paul George is also he played 74 games last year, but before that it was 56, 31, 54 was the bubble season, and 48. I mean, he's injury prone too. If Embiid goes down and then Paul George goes down, I don't think Maxey can carry this team to many wins. I'm sorry.
Well, do we think that their whole starting lineup's going to get injured? And that's like,
no, I'm just saying they're two very injury prone players, Maya.
Yeah, sure. And then you still have them at 6, so I think you're doing them respect anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be a playing team. Like, I think Embiid will play 40 plus. I think he'll play a little more than last year. And I think Paul George will play 50 plus. And I think that'll propel them enough to be good. But I think I could see both of them missing time.
That's fair.
And I don't want to be stuck in the mud if I predict them super high, like I did for the Clippers. I predicted them 1, and then Kawhi and PG missed time. So
Fair, you did learn your lesson.
Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you.
For now.
For now.
Oh yeah, give it a couple spots, and then lesson will be thrown out the window.
Yeah.
Don't worry, everyone's gonna hate my number 5.
All right, what's your number 5?
That's where I have the Atlanta Hawks.
Yo.
Holy moly! This is the highest that I think I will see them ranked by any person in the entire world. This is unbelievable.
I bring up that roster. I think this is a good team. Trae Young returns to MVP form. Bogdanovich, I think he's at least solid now that he's in the starting lineup for sure because DeJounte's gone. Reece Shea, it's nothing crazy, but he fills the spot in. Jalen Johnson. Their centers are insane, but they do need to move on from Capella. I just truly believe that Trae Young I think it's the addition by subtraction, man. They moved on from DeJounte Murray. I think they're going to go crazy. I think Trae Young is going to go crazy. I think they're going to either play who I have at 4 and it'll make Jackson happy, or they'll go down to probably in the play-in like you guys are predicting, and then make.
If Jalen Johnson
averages
30 a night, they wouldn't be the 5th seed.
If he averaged 30 a night, they wouldn't be the 5th seed.
All right, let me rebuttal this. I'm looking. So let me just.
You don't need to rebuttal it. It's not like a rebuttal. I'm the one with the hot take. There's no rebuttal. There doesn't
be why I disagree with the hot take. Okay, I'm looking at.
Everybody disagrees with the hot take. That's why it's a hot take.
Oh my gosh!
Listen.
I don't need to listen. Everyone already. I know how everyone feels. It's a hot take.
I'm not gonna argue your hot take. I'm just gonna give some reasons why I'm not confident on this team. Okay.
I know why they're not confident. Everybody has them as a play-in team.
Yeah,
No,
we don't
let me
need to. We
explain.
don't need to.
I just believe in them.
We
I
don't
just
need to
believe in them.
specify or explain.
They're
I'm
a
just
very
saying,
young team, and they do have very many holes if the guys don't pan out like they should. Like it is,
I'm not even
I'm
saying
taking
that.
a risk here.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at the rest of the East, and what worries me about them is their backcourt with their defense, because you have every single team that I have above them has guards that will torch this backcourt.
And we learned last year with the Indiana Pacers that defense means nothing in the regular season.
Well, I think they'll probably start Dyson Daniels if that's a problem. Because Bogdanovich is a very good bench player. I just don't think that. I just don't think that. I mean, I think the only way this happens is if there is a jump from a Jalen Johnson. Because if the players play like they did last season, and to me, I don't. Jalen Johnson's pretty good. It's hard for me to tell exactly what his ceiling could be. If all these players played like they did last season and Trae Young was even like a little bit better, even though I think he was really good last season, I just don't think that adds up to the rest of the talent in the East. But like, heck, there's a reason. It's fun to say hot takes in this stuff because
I know how they're probably gonna be bad. There is an 80% chance they're gonna be bad, and I know why they're gonna be bad. I'm just believing them. I think Trae could be a top 5 MVP or top 10 MVP candidate. Sorry, not top 5. I said that earlier. I don't think top 5. I think maybe like 7 or 8. Dude is a guard killer. He always wins against the guard matchups. I feel like he always comes out for the big games. Even though they score like 30, he'll score 40 on them.
Yeah, I mean, Trae Young, we talked about it a lot. Trae Young is going to give you a top offense in the league. That's just what he can do single-handedly. Doesn't really matter who else is around him.
Yeah.
It's just like Jackson, you said, can the defense be anything special? Because if it's not, then it's hard to really believe in this team a whole lot. But if they can improve defensively with, Dyson Daniels, Risa Shea in there, then, I mean, you never know what could happen. I mean, Trae Young's the type of player that could do some special things to a team and lead them to a very good record. But I think that's probably the hottest take that we got.
It is.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And I like it.
I'm a believer. I'm very in the minority here. I realize that.
It's a hot take. This is the thing I like about it. This is a hot take that I could talk myself into if I really wanted. I could see this happening.
Indiana shocked a lot of people last year with a really insane offense and a terrible defense.
I'm leaning into it.
I don't think they might do something in the playoffs. They might not. Depends how much everyone improves. But that's playoffs predictions are way later. Don't worry, guys.
A while to go till that. So all right, Jackson, you're number 5 seed in the East. Who do you got?
I feel bad saying this, and it's gonna make you guys sad. I have the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Me too.
Listen. Okay.
No, it's not
I'm looking at the 4 teams ahead of them, and I think the addition of Kenny Atkinson's gonna be a huge thing. I'm just looking at the teams ahead of them, and I think reading into watching back what we talked about before this, I was kind of thinking about everything that we were saying about these other teams, and I was like, yeah, if this happens, these teams are going to be so much better. So I mean, I don't know. I like them, but I think I don't know.
Yeah, the reason I put the Cavs here was because I think, like you said, Jackson, the other 4 teams are better, and that's just where I got the Cavs.
It's not crazy to say. I have the Cavs a couple spots higher, but it's not crazy to say that they'll finish 5th outside of home field advantage or home court advantage. I think Kenny Atkinson's going to be a huge addition, but we're running back the same squad. So and we were what, fourth last year? So fourth, fifth, like that's nothing crazy.
Yeah, it'd be right around the same mark. I think that, like I mentioned before, if this was a power ranking, I'd have the Cavs fifth probably right now because they're not as deep as the other teams ahead of them in the East, and that's definitely a realistic thing to say. I'm sure that's where most people would have them. But going into the top four, number 4 is where I have the New York Knicks for the regular season. And this was not I had the Knicks a couple spots higher just a couple days ago actually. But we did receive some news a couple days ago that Mitchell Robinson is set to miss the beginning of the season after off-season ankle injury, and they're targeting a return in December or January. So the Knicks now looking at their team, they don't have much depth at that center position. That Julius Randle at the 5 thing I was talking about before, you're going to see a lot of that this season. And I like it. I do like it. I don't think that can win you a whole lot of games, at least to start playing him like that. If the Knicks make a deal before training camp starts, because there are some rumors about maybe a Walker Kessler from Utah or Nick Richards from the Hornets, guys that could just go in there, slot that center position to start the season. If they do that, then they're going to be fine. And there's definitely a possibility that they do that in the first few months of the season to just fill that spot. But with this roster right now, I just think that's going to hurt them to start the year. I think that puts them at 4th for regular season record because the other teams in the East that they're going against, the bigs that they have, it's just tough, those other top teams in the East. So if the Knicks can just take care of business, beat the teams that they're supposed to beat at the beginning of the season, then they will be fine. They will be fine. The lack of Mitchell Robinson for the first half of the season, though, scares me when your next center options are 2 guys who normally play the 4 and Randall and Achua, and then Jericho Sims. That scares me a lot for the regular season.
Jackson, who'd you have at the 4 spot?
I got Milwaukee at 4.
Yeah, that's who I have as well.
I
am definitely concerned about their depth. But Dame and Giannis are, arguably the top duo in the conference, and they should be able to hold you out for a top 4 seed in the East. So that's what I expect to happen.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think they're going to be a great regular season team. I'm a little worried about the playoffs if it does come around. If Giannis plays the whole regular season, he might be beat up just from having to kind of carry. But this isn't a playoff video. I think they're going to be the 4th seed. I like what they got. I think Dame and Giannis are going to figure it out a little better. I think Doc Rivers can kind of get them through the regular season and hopefully be fired because I do not like Doc Rivers.
It's a far cry from 7th, Joey. It's a far cry from 7th.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right, Joey, who's your number 4?
I have the 76ers.
Okay.
I have the 76ers. We've talked about them. And I expect some injuries. I don't think it's going to be any major ones, but I think they're going to miss around 10 or so games, a couple of the big guys. So, during those games, they'll lose, obviously. And if that happens, I think they'll still get a home court advantage at the 4 seed, but you're not going to be able to pass a Boston or New York or Cleveland in that matter, who I have next.
Well, here's the thing. I think
if they're hurt for 10 plus games or something like that.
Let me tell you why I think the Sixers are definitely going to be fighting for a top 4 spot.
They are top. I just put them top 4.
No, I know. But not all of our colleagues did. And I just want to make the argument for the listeners. And so, I'm not coming at you. I'm just going to say that
I ain't worried.
Paul George and Tyrese Maxey on their own would be probably the 2nd top duo in the league, in the conference. 2nd, 3rd. I mean, they're better than Tyrese and Pascal. I would take them 2 over. And then you add the 30 point per game, 1 point per minute.
Yeah,
you had Joel Embiid
34-point score. Yeah,
you had Joel Embiid to that.
Game playing.
I'm just saying Tyrese and Paul George are going to be really good together, regardless of whether Joel is on the court. And Joel's hopefully going to be on the court. So I think that's all the reason to believe that they're going to fight for a top 4.
Oh, I mean, if anyone is saying that they aren't fighting for a top 4 seed, then they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
be
not
honest.
saying
This team is going to be fighting for one of the top seeds in the Eastern Conference. What Jackson and I are saying, injuries and the year one of guys playing together on a new roster, it may not add up with the continuity of all these other teams ahead of them in the Eastern Conference. But when it comes to playoff basketball, I know Jackson may have different feelings on this. This is a team I could totally see going deep in the playoffs, playing in May and June. But regular season, you know, we saw it with teams like the Bucks and the Suns last season. It's hard that year one. It's definitely hard that year one.
So Miles and Joey, do you guys have the Cavs at 3?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Cavaliers at 3. You know, we talked about it when we were talking about the Cavs in the preview video. This team may have the most variability in the whole conference, but from being able to go as high as 3 as we got, or you guys have them 5, they could be a play-in team if some other teams jump up and, you know, progress better. But
Yeah.
I think the Kenny Atkinson thing is definitely huge, and I just think this team last season dealt with so much, and they still nearly won 50 games. I just think there's not much, you know, worse they could be in the regular season. That and the continuity and the defense. I like them at the 3rd seed, 4th seed, 5 seed. I think that's right around where they're going to be.
I definitely foresee them being around the 3 to 6. So even if they fall down at the 5 or 6, not going to be fully shocked, but I will fully say I'm bought in to this team. I bought into what they're trying to do. I'm a believer. I'm a Cavs fan, so it's full on. You can call it full on bias if you want, but when we're talking about teams living up to their potential, I think the Cavs ceiling / potential would be a top 3 seed, and unfortunately I don't have them better as the other 2 seeds. So like 3 is great. But I think the offense is going to be unlocked with Kenny Atkinson. They're still a good defensive team. They learned what they took from JB, and they're going to carry it on. But I think Garland is going to return to an all-star form. Donovan Mitchell and him are going to be perfect. I think Kenny Atkinson is going to know how to do rotations when JB just didn't know. It made me so angry. I think Mobley's going to expand his offense, and if he does that, even if Mobley averages anywhere from 16 to 20 points, that'll be huge. That would be an insane leap for me, and I would be super comfortable with that, with Garland averaging 20-something points and then Mitchell averaging almost 30 a game. And then the depth is definitely an issue. And injuries are bound to happen at some point. I just hope it doesn't hit us as hard as it did last year, because that was really brutal when the team started clicking and then we lost. They kept on clicking, but when we lost Mobley and Garland, it's like, imagine if we were clicking with everybody here.
Yeah. And then even with the injuries, Cavs always still find a way to be successful and still hold their own. And the depth, if again, the rotations, if Kenny Atkinson can stagger 2 of those core 4 or one of them out there on the floor at all times, it definitely helps the second unit a whole lot. So it should be a lot of fun to see what the Cavaliers can do.
I could definitely talk about them more often and what I think they should do, but that's a Cavs team preview. But I'm a believer. I think they'll hit their ceiling, which is, I think, the 3rd seed.
Yep, definitely possible. Jackson, you're number 3 seed. Also, New York Knicks. There has been no mention of the Orlando Magic yet. Just want to point that out.
The Knicks?
Yeah, the Knicks at 3.
You're a hater.
Yeah, I had the Knicks 1 spot higher at 2, and then I don't think it's much to argue that the Celtics were first for me, so that rounds me out.
With the Sixers at 3 for you, Nick?
Yes.
Sixers at 3. Okay.
Sixers, okay. You feel they'll be healthy this year? You think Embiid's going to go off?
Yeah, I told you, even if he's not there, I think Paul George and Tyrese Maxey are one of the top duos in the whole conference. So
That's fair.
Well, you're in love with Tyrese Maxey.
He
there's no reason
he
not
wasn't
to.
in the top 10 point guards video. That was fun.
That was a wild moment.
But Jackson, New York Knicks at 3. Tell us your thoughts on your Knicks.
I mean, I think they're gonna be similar to the regular season last year. I think they're just gonna not coast through it, but they're gonna make sure they're gonna try and make sure that Brunson puts up his numbers, that Julius puts up his numbers, and I think it's gonna lead to wins. I think they're gonna be a good defensive team. You got OG, you got Josh Hart, you got Mikal Bridges, 3 fantastic defenders, and even Jalen Brunson's not a bad defender at the point guard. He's just a little smaller, which makes it kind of tough. Julius can't guard a parked car, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I think 2 to 3 seeds obtainable for this team. I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's just another. The next couple are going to be gut feelings. So yeah.
What a hater you are. You on your
Good. Call me a hater all
New
you want.
York Knicks. What a hater.
Why
New
weren't
York
your Cleveland Cavaliers higher then? You had your team at 3.
That is high for them. Relax.
Any concern with Mitchell Robinson out for the first half of the season?
I think there's a little bit of concern, but I thought Precious gave them really good minutes last year. He played the 5 sometimes, and I think he's a versatile guy. He's a pretty decent defender too. And I think looking at the big men, I mean, the Cavs have good big men, the Bucks have a good big man, the Magic have a good big man, but I don't think Precious is going to be guarding Paolo. And I mean, I think Philly, obviously, they got that one dude. Not even going to say his name. I don't want to. But I mean, it's not going to make too much of a difference. I don't know. I like Precious. I feel like Precious is really underrated, and I think he's going to show why he's underrated. Because I think he's also going to give a good boost on offense that Mitchell Robinson necessarily wouldn't be able to, because he can stretch the floor a little bit.
Yeah, I have the Knicks at 2. I like this Knicks team. I'm also not really worried. I think Precious is a solid guy to fill in. Julius Randle back, even if he starts at the 5. Miles said, you said you don't think it'll translate too much to wins a whole lot if Randle's starting at the 5. I don't see it as big of an issue. I think they'll start the Villanova Knicks starting lineup, and they're going to run on purely on the power of friendship and get them the 2 seed. I think they'll choke in the playoffs for sure. But that's a playoff video later. I think but for the regular season, they're going to be one of the best regular season teams in the East.
No, look, Julius Randle at the 5, as far as the wins, I definitely think it can translate to wins. I just don't think to start the season it will translate to wins at a second, third seed level.
Okay.
They'll still be in the playoff picture. Obviously, they're still a really good team. This is a team that's so deep in the playoffs. I'm so excited to see what this team can do on both ends of the floor. It's just to start. Julius Randle at the 5. Tom Thibodeau is a very traditional coach. He hasn't really experimented a whole lot with playing small ball, if you will. He wants to play an actual center at all times on the floor. So it's going to be a little different. There's going to be, adjustments unless the Knicks do make a trade before the season starts for a actual center. But, Randle, I think as a center, he can rebound, he can push the break, and defensively, he's not the best, obviously, but he's a very big body. He's going to be physical down there. And they have other guys that can defend the post. Like OG Anunoby is a great post defender. Mikal going there is great. So the Knicks, they're just a great team. And with Randle starting at the 5, they'll still win games. I just don't think they're going to be lights out to start. But best believe when we're going into the playoffs, I think they're going to be rolling going into the playoffs.
They're my favorite to make the finals, by the way.
I just don't know where Derrick Rose is going to get minutes once Tom Thibodeau signs him off waivers.
Oh, D Rose.
Orange in the finals.
Suns Knicks is the finals prediction for Jackson. Wow. All right.
That's a great matchup.
Great move.
Okay.
Such a hater.
All right, I'll go in. My second seed is the Milwaukee Bucks. I've got them high. I got them as the second seed in the Eastern Conference. And to me,
Oh, boy.
their roster, I still like their roster a bit. I talk a lot about how old they are, but they did get younger from when they were last season. When you look at this team last year, they had 3 35-year-old players, or excuse me, 4 35-year-old players playing minutes for them in the rotation. They had Patrick Beverly, they had a Gallinari, they had Brooke Lopez, and they had Jay Crowder, who's 33 years old. And three of those guys are not there anymore. They got younger. They got DeLon Wright, who fits the team pretty well. I think Gary Trent Jr. is a very underrated signing. Like, a lot of people were going crazy for it when it happened. They got him for a minimum contract because he can do what Malik Beasley did for them last year, shoot threes at an elite level, also create other shots and defend at a pretty solid level. He can go off, at any moment. He's had crazy games for Toronto and Portland when he was with Dame before. Middleton, in the playoffs, he is still amazing. He showed that even last season. And regular season, he shot more efficiently than, a lot of previous seasons. And haven't even mentioned year 2 of Dame and Giannis, where Giannis had the best statistical season of his career, and Damian Lillard is going into year 2 with Giannis. Year 2 of those two guys together. And the bigs, Brooke Lopez is old. He's still good, though. He still can block shots. He still can shoot the three. Last year, it was bad defensively because the guards made him look bad. Let's be honest. The reason they were able, Brooke Lopez was playing the same defense he's had all the previous years before, but because the guards couldn't get over on screens, it made Brooke Lopez look worse, even though he was playing the same defense and playing the same basketball. And Portis is still good. I like the makeup of this team. They've got one of the best players in the world. And even if this roster around doesn't, look the best, the depth wise, Giannis and Dame are amazing enough to where they can bring this team single-handedly to a top seed in the East if they have to, and then be a threat in the playoffs. So I'm a Bucks believer. Giannis, I think, is going to have an MVP season, and he's going to have the Bucks up there at the top of the East.
I definitely think they'll make it interesting in the playoffs. I think this is a team built for the playoffs, but for the regular season, I just don't see how they keep up the whole regular season. It's a long season, man.
It is.
I just don't see how they keep it up consistently with just the makeup of that team. I think personally, I think Brooke Lopez is kind of washed. Low-key. I think it's gonna take an effect this year.
Hater.
All right, Jackson, talk about your holdout team because we got to wrap this thing up.
Holdout team.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the second seed Boston Celtics, right, Jackson?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I got the Orlando Magic, the number 1 seed in the East. Hear me out. This team is screaming to me that they are going to be like OKC from last year. It's screaming to me. I think Paolo Banchero is going to jump up to 27 plus points a game with good efficiency. I think Franz is going to figure it out. I think Jalen Suggs is going to be a 20 plus point per game scorer. And I think they are just way better rounded. I don't like the center play necessarily that much, but it's okay. Because, dude, I don't know. I think this team is going to be special this year. I think they're going to come out. They're going to show. Good. Pull out the lemon head. I think they had 47 wins last year. I think the East is going to be more competitive. So I think they're only going to need. I think they can win 55 plus. And I think if they win 57 to 58, I think that could be the 1 seed this year. That's just my opinion because the East is way more competitive. So I don't think Boston's going to have the huge lead that they had last year. And I think Orlando is going to capitalize and they're going to finish as the 1 seed. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be like a 1 to 2 game, like in between with them. But I think Orlando is going to be the 1 seed.
Dude, we see OKC have the most historic number 1 young seed in basketball history, and now we're trying to find the Like, dude, we see it
This
once,
team-
and now
this
we're
team's
trying to
older. This
find
team-
another
this
one.
team- No, this team's older. This team isn't as young as they were. I think Paolo's going to be a fantastic MVP type of guy this year. And I think Franz is going to figure out his shooting slump. And I like the depth on this team. I just think it's an all-around great team. I think Anthony Black's going to take a big jump this year. I think Gary Harris is going to provide great leadership. Jonathan Isaac off the bench is going to clamp up whoever they need. And even if Franz is struggling, they can put him in the starting lineup and kind of mix and match things around that way. And maybe do like a Jalen Suggs at the 2, put like Cole Anthony at the 1 in the starting lineup. He's going to provide you buckets. I like this team. I think there's
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Jackson.
good.
Hey,
Thank you.
Nick, you remember when you said earlier, if anybody thinks that KCP is going to add +5 wins to this team, they're crazy. Godwin's out here saying that the addition of KCP is going to give them 10 wins more. He's going to give them 10 wins more, Nick.
Is that what I said? Did I say Casey? I haven't even mentioned KCP's name yet, actually.
No, you haven't, but that's the thing. They kept the same team, just added KCP, and you automatically think that they're going to just jump up 10+ wins.
This is also coming off a season where Jackson was kind of a Magic hater, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that as well. Like, how is that? This makes no sense.
I'm just, dude, I don't know. This team is just screaming to me that they're going to be so much better. I think Paolo is going to take a massive jump this year. I think, like I said, Franz is going to figure out his shooting slump. I think he's going to be great. And I think Jalen Suggs, like he showed in college, is going to be getting buckets. I think he's going to be shooting the 3-point shot more efficiently. I think he's going to be the number 2 option on this team.
I think you've convinced me. You know how they were screaming at you? You keep saying that's how the Atlanta Hawks are to me. They were screaming at me that they're going to be a top 5 seed.
That's why I said I was like at the end. I thought about it. I'm like, I'm not going to hate because I have this up ahead.
You still got this one locked in the chamber.
Yeah, I got a hot take. But that's my hot take. This is like Minnesota last year for me, except hotter. This is just I don't know.
Well, you were good on the Minnesota one. That's the thing.
I like this Magic team is going to be fun. They're going to play great defense too. Great defense. So they're not going to get. Like, I think they're going to play amazing defense. They're going to score a lot more this year, and I think it's going to lead to more and more wins. You can shake your head all you want.
I just don't.
That'd be something else. I mean, I don't know if any of us would be complaining because like I said, I would love it. Yeah. Magic. But man, that'd be something else. Rest of us, obviously, Boston Celtics #1. Let's not just harp over the defending champs. You know, they are a team coming in with a chip on their shoulder, or at least some of their individual players are, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And Joey, I know you said, the video a while ago that you thought 70 wins could be possible for this team. Do you still think that with the Celtics?
Not this year, especially because if they were healthy and Kristaps Porzingis was here to start the year, because I know he's going to be out to start the year, right? Do we know how long?
About till December.
Yeah, they may struggle to start the year. I wouldn't be shocked if they just for the first 20 games until 20 to 30 games until KP got back or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a mid-standing team. Especially with the chip on the shoulders, because who knows how everything chemistry-wise is going to react. Training camp starts soon, so we may get a figure on that. But right now, there were 3 guys on the USA team, and none of them named Jaylen Brown. So chemistry-wise, who knows what's going to happen? But outside, this team is another 60-win-plus team. I could see it. I wouldn't be shocked. This team, they didn't do anything crazy. They didn't lose anybody really crazy. They didn't get anybody crazy. They're kind of just rolling it back, and they won the championship and had the best record in the NBA. What else do you need to do, to be fair?
I mean, hey, I would not be surprised if they were the 1 seed, obviously. I like Joey, like you said, there's like an 80% chance that I'm wrong, but like
Yeah.
also I feel like I don't know. I just like the Magic this year. I'm super high on them.
That's
But
fine. This Celtics team, man.
yeah, there's something special.
If you
But
think they're
KP
not
being
going to
out
win
first-
50-something games and keep up with the Magic, you think could win 57 games? If you don't, they won. How many wins did they have last year?
The
64, they had
Celtics,
The
64.
Celtics 64. Even if they just hit 60, then they're still going to get the 1 seed over the Magic.
I mean, hey, that's why it's a hot take. Like
That's
you
fair.
said, that's why it's a hot take.
I don't
But,
think there's
mean,
much else to say about
think-
Boston, though.
I think
They're
KP
just
could.
that good.
KP being out could, yeah, like you said, make it a struggle. But I think also, I could change it. I'm not going to change it now. Obviously, I already said it, but I wouldn't be surprised also because Jason Tatum apparently was like already finished with his first workout at 7:30 in the morning this morning.
Oh, he's locked in.
Yeah, according to I think it was Sam Hauser who said it when he got in there. Jason Tatum was already done with his workout.
Fair.
His first workout. So I was like, we could be cooked.
Yeah. Well, that's it for our Eastern Conference standings predictions. Let us know in the comments what you thought about all of our hot takes. We didn't really talk about it too much about how, besides Nick, we all do have the Hornets making the play-in tournament. And I think for all of us, that is a pretty big hot take because they probably are projected to be definitely lower in the standings because of the last few seasons. Let us know about, the Hornets, the Hawks being up there, the Bucks being lower for Joey, Bucks being high for me, the Magic for Jackson. Nick, you were pretty even keel with this.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one who had a good list.
You had the most normal list out there.
How often does this happen?
Nick used AI. I'm calling it.
Well, yeah, you guys got anything else before we get out of here?
Don't get a tattoo of yourself on your body. Shout out Jason Tatum.
Yo.
Oh my goodness.
That's ridiculous. Why would anyone do that? That's weird.
Like the picture of Kobe with holding the trophy. You know how he recreated that? Yeah, he got that tattooed on his body of him, not the Kobe picture of him doing the Kobe pose.
Dude, I don't know though. If we get a Suns Knicks finals, I might have to get that tattooed on my body.
All right.
He's gonna put Knicks in the finals every season until they actually make it. But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Coming up next will be the first of 6 official preseason question videos. We're going to have 30 questions to go over where we're going to cover awards, different things throughout the season, eventually leading up to our finals predictions. Jackson already gave his today, but those are going to be a bunch of fun episodes, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.